This is Alexa Linton coming to you from the Cowichan Valley on Vancouver Island, and you're listening to the Whole Horse Podcast. We're now in season 9. Thanks to all of you tuning in, sharing with your friends, and keeping the momentum going. I couldn't be more appreciative. This podcast is dedicated to the beautiful and amazing horses in our lives and all things that uplift equine well-being and welfare, sharing down-to-earth and fascinating conversations with equine professionals about the little things that move the dial slowly but surely towards a better world for horses. You'll find all of the episodes, 146 and counting, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for being here and enjoy the ride. Hi, everyone, and welcome back. We're here for season 9. Can you believe that? That is nutty. So, going into 9 years of doing this podcasting thing, and I think we're on 146 episodes today. And I couldn't have a better guest for this moment of starting season 9 than welcoming back Elsa Sinclair. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. It's always a great conversation with you.
Oh, I just loved reaching out to you. And I reached out to Elsa last week and I was like, want to do a podcast? And she's like, yes, always. I was like, ooh. So here we are today to just open up, turn over more rocks and learn a little bit more and dive in a little deeper. And I've been chatting with you, Elsa, now. Like I was trying to think back, and it's probably been 4 or 5 years-ish, different conversations. And I know for both of us, our work has evolved through our life experience. You've been on so many adventures all around the world. And I know that you've released a book, so congratulations.
Thank you. The
How
book is
is
very exciting. It's fun to see people reading it around the world. I'm really, really proud of how it came out. That was years and years and years in the making, and to finally bring that full circle and release the book felt really good.
amazing? I have not yet read it, but it is on my list for winter time. Over here at Raven Moon Farm, we're madly dashing to winterize and get things sorted for our first turn of the wheel here. So yeah, it's been, well, that kind of intensity preparing for
Absolutely.
things.
Soon enough, the rains will be here, and it will be the perfect time to cozy into a nook with a good book. But right now, in the fall, we are
Yeah.
working like crazy to make sure we are ready.
Yes. I wanted to chat with you. We were chatting before the podcast about this idea of the beauty in the mundane, and chatting about the farm right now. It really brings me back to that place of like a lot of what we do with horses is like stuffing hay nets and picking hooves and giving them a scratch on the way by when we're putting out feed or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you share a little bit more about, yeah, what that means to you, the beauty in the mundane?
Yes. So I feel like as social creatures, we are all seeking connection, connection with our horses, connection with our friends, connection with our herd mates, human, horse, dog, cat, bird, you name it. We're all seeking connection. And connection comes in the form of responses. So we give each other responses for things. Now, it's easiest to get responses when something interesting happens, something novel, something new, something fabulous. And so, because we're social creatures, we all reach for that new and that novel and that interesting. And there's dopamine that goes along with that, and all of that's great. But I feel as a society, we forget how important the foundation for new and novel is. And the foundation is the basic needs being met. Are we fed? Are we watered? Are we rested? Are we safe enough? Like, those are our basic needs that actually are so foundationally important before we get to the brilliant stuff that causes responses. And so, as horse trainers, we go around trying to teach people to get responses and give responses and do all the fun and exciting stuff. And I think we don't talk enough about the foundation for that fun, exciting stuff. The foundation of are all the basic needs met? The foundation of what is what does it take to feel safe and make our friends feel safe before we get to the really fun, exciting, juicy relational stuff. And then coming back to it again and again and again and again. Is my barn watertight? Do I have gravel? Do I have wood chips? Do I have food? Do I have like all those really simple things? So I've been asking people this question wherever I go. What did you do today that was really boring and a little bit beautiful?
Mm.
And I find that people get stuck. They're like, I don't, I don't, nobody gives me attention for boring stuff. I don't even remember what I did that was boring because they're not used to talking about it. They're not used to sharing it. They're not used to getting relational attention for that foundation piece. And so I've been on this like great journey of can I give people attention for the really basic stuff? And then
Mm.
of course, I'm going to give them attention for the exciting stuff. That goes without saying. It also goes without saying with my horses. Can I give them attention for the really basic needs stuff? When they do really good self-care, when they do things that are really necessary, that are boring and beautiful. And then from there, of course, they're also going to get attention for the good stuff and the big stuff. But I think as horse trainers, we are doing a disservice when we put all of the emphasis on the big, the bright, the bold, and the beautiful.
Ooh, let that sink in for a second. Goodness, these conversations, they always just get me. I love it. I saw a post recently, and maybe you saw it. It was sort of circulating on Facebook. It was about this guy that goes around on his bike, and who knows if it's true or not, and yells out these amazingly specific compliments.
Yes, I've seen that.
Did you see that? Like, I can't remember them off the top of my head, and I'll just butcher it if I try. But, like, you've really matched your, this to your that today, and it looks fantastic. Or you've really, like, I love how you are holding your coffee with such a strong and confident grip,
Yeah,
right? And it was like, I saw it really go wild on Facebook. Like people were really resonating with this sense of
yeah,
the acknowledgement of the little stuff
yeah.
is what I got, right?
As herd animals, we cannot live without acknowledgement. We need acknowledgement from our peers. Horses and humans are both like this. But we get so used to the hero's journey where you only get acknowledgement if you've gone through a near miss and a near failure and almost died and come out the other side and then had success. And yeah, of course, that's good. We need acknowledgement for that too. But the way you hold your coffee cup, that could be brilliant.
Right? Yeah, it'd be like if we were horse people, it'd be like, oh my gosh, your poop picking technique is magnificent.
Yes.
Can't
And
believe how much manure you get on that fork.
the laughter that we do, like I encourage all of you guys to start noticing the boring and the beautiful. And what's funny is it becomes interesting when it's acknowledged. When
Hmm.
it's acknowledged, it becomes surprisingly interesting.
It's amazing. And my guess too is that in that in that acknowledgement and sort of seeing the smaller stuff, shall we say, my guess is that the opportunities for training or learning or opening something up with our horses also start to shift because we're not just jumping from one interesting thing to another. We're actually tracking
Yeah.
all the things.
I had a beautifully honest student the other day say to me, Elsa, I'm really struggling to acknowledge my horse because I don't actually like any of the choices she makes. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough place, but I've been there. I know what you mean. But also, if we talk about the freedom of having a relationship, we've got to learn how to give before we get. And so we all walk into the paddock and we go, I want connection from my horse. But that means I want the horse to like my human decisions. And when we flip it around and we go, could I give before I get? We go, I don't really like chasing another horse around. He is taking a nap and not responding to anybody. Like, how do I respond to any of that? And I was like, whoo, yeah, we gotta like break that down a little bit. There's probably a lot more than that happening if we look a little closer. Can we find anything in those moments that is worth acknowledging? Because we got to start somewhere
Mhm.
with giving before we get.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's so, so helpful. And clarify some pieces, right? Because I think, I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on was this idea of this escalating pressure conversation. You did this post. It went pretty viral, I'd say. I don't know how many shares you got, but I saw it a lot of places. You
Yeah.
did a tea time, you talked about escalating pressure, and it really hit a nerve for people, really resonated.
So everybody's tended to look at this idea of escalating pressure in a very black and white view. You either are for it or you're against it. And like everything, I'm going to come in and be like, well, maybe we could see it on a spectrum, guys. Maybe we could see it on a continuum. And there are maybe some benefits to either choice depending on your situation. So that's the way I like to see the world. And I think that escalating pressure, like anything else, can be seen on a spectrum with pros and cons to everything. And I really believe that we are continually in an emotional cycle where we feel pressure is escalating in our own nervous system or pressure is de-escalating in our own nervous system. And sure, we can blame it on someone else. Someone else caused the feeling of pressure to go up, or someone else caused the pressure to go down. But the fact is, we're always in these cycles where pressure's going up and pressure's coming down. And so, do we become the person that adds pressure to our horse's life, or do we become the person that decreases pressure in our horse's life? And I think it's a great conversation. I think we should absolutely have this conversation. But I'm very much against the black and white point of view that one way is good and the other way is bad. It's just too nuanced for that.
Yeah, this idea of the spectrum is so important. I mean, on so many in so many areas of life right now
Yeah.
that we've sort of been very black and white.
Yeah.
There's just all this sort of it's filling in, right? There's like, oh, right. Like it's actually not this or that.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
actually infinite possibilities of things or across a vast spectrum of experiences,
Yeah.
right? And I just love that when you were talking about escalating pressure, you talked about horses and humans wanting to be seen and this sense of wanting a response, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of the beauty and the mundane as well, kind of tracking back around that. It's like if we're constantly requiring these responses from our horses, it's hard to just let things. There's always pressure in the space. If is kind of a little of what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, so that's sort of one point of view of it. But the other point of view is I see a lot of horses that feel pressure. They feel pressure internally. And what happens when people go to not escalate the pressure is the horse feels like, you don't even understand what's going on for me. Pressure is
Right.
escalating. And you're just standing there like nothing's happening.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So, in some cases, when you get somebody that goes, oh, I see the pressure inside your system is escalating, could I show you I understand that? Could I escalate my pressure in a way that gets you around the cycle and over the hump and down the other side so there's goes, oh, thank God I feel better. The pressure is no longer internally escalating. And that's something that's really hard for us, kind, gentle, loving people, where we go, oh, I don't want to be any part of that escalating pressure. But then what happens is the horse tends to exaggerate their behavior to get a response from the human. So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say I ask my horse to back up and I just apply the lightest touch or a little bit of energy or whatever it is that I choose to do. And then I wait for them to respond. And in that waiting for them to respond, time is applying pressure. And as the pressure goes up and they see me just waiting, not responding to their sense of change, not responding to how the fact they're feeling worse and worse, very often what'll happen is they'll bite you instead of backing up. They'll be like, clearly you don't understand. It's feeling worse and worse in here in this body I'm in, and you're just standing there waiting for a response. I'll give you a response, and my response is to bite you because you clearly have not gotten the picture that something needs to happen. And so if you choose non-escalating pressure and you sort of go ahead and ask for something and then wait, if you hit the right point in the emotional cycle, that's going to go beautifully because the pressure is going to peak. It's going to come over the hump. They're going to give you a really lovely response. The pressure will go down internally. All of that's great, but that's a timing issue. It's
Yeah.
not a whether you put pressure on or off. It's did you know what was going to happen? Where in the emotional cycle are they?
Hmm.
And I feel like so many great trainers teach technique, not timing. And technique is what you do with your hand or what you do with your energy or what you do. And all of that's great if you hit the timing right. But if you use the perfect technique at the wrong time,
Hmm.
you're going to find all that energy rebounding back at you, either with a bite or a push, or they're just going to leave the scene.
Yeah.
I had a student the other day in Australia who messaged me and she said, it's really interesting. I know when horses don't like what you do, they just leave. But it never occurred to me how far they can leave on 1,000 acres. She said, I did something the herd didn't like, and I spent all day trying to find them again.
Oh my gosh. That's pretty funny. Where you're like, I'm so glad my herd's on 1,000 acres. Then it's like, oh no.
So horses are constantly communicating and they want responses, but they want responses that make sense with their internal feeling of life. Their internal feeling is incredibly clear to them, but it's not always incredibly clear to the human. So a lot of humans don't know how their horse feels. They don't know if it's getting worse. They don't know if it's getting better. And that absolutely needs to educate how you use your technique.
Right. Okay. So the big question is how do we improve our timing?
So this is why I developed freedom-based training. It trains a horse as a side effect, but mainly it's training the human to understand the horse's emotional cycle. And then once we understand the horse's emotional cycle, we endeavor to develop their sensory system more than their physical system. And what
Mm,
I mean by that is their sensory system is the use of their five senses to regulate how they feel. So if we can help train their sensory system, they can get around emotional cycle efficiently so that they can be in the best mental state to interact with others. So we do this by first learning their timing. When does their stress go up? When does their stress go down? How do I see it? How do I know it happens? So I have developed in the last year a sort of a new way of looking at my training system. It's still exactly the same training system I've done for years, but it's a new way of looking at it. And that is that I work in 5 levels. You can go to any of the levels at any time, but the first level is just watch your horse. You can sit in a chair outside the pasture, just watch them. Watch them and learn their sequences. What happens first, what happens second, what happens third. And the longer you watch them, the better you know them. If you watch them long enough, you know what's going to happen. You just do. The next stage is what I call the affirming practice. And the affirming practice is where you go in there and you prove to them that you know what's going to happen next. Okay. I know you're going to walk to the water trough next. And the way I prove it to you is I do it first. And the horse goes, "Oh my God, you know me so well. Of course I was going to the water trough next." Okay. Or, they get tired and they're going to take a nap next. And you go and sit down in their favorite sleeping spot. And they're like, "Oh, you're so smart. You know exactly what's going to happen next." And proving that you know what's going to happen next. The biggest way that I think we can prove what's going to happen next is we move our feet before the horse moves their feet. It's really simple. They're happy being still for a certain amount of time, and eventually they got to move. Do you know when they have to move?
Wow.
And just going in and showing them you know what happens next. Can you be 80% correct? You don't have to be 100% correct. That's impossible, even if you get it sometimes. Can you be 80% correct that you know what's going to happen next? And that is understanding your horse's emotional cycle. Something needs to happen. You know it needs to happen. Nothing needs to happen. You know nothing needs to happen. Sounds simple, but it's actually harder in
I was
practice.
gonna say simple, but not easy.
So then the next step, so first we've got watching, then we've got affirming. The third step is supporting. And supporting is where I take an action that's going to cause my horse to use their sensory system in a way that's good enough to rest afterwards. So they're going to listen to something. They're going to listen to something that makes them feel good enough they can rest.
Mm.
They're going to look at something. They're going to look at something that makes them feel good enough to rest. Now, the rest isn't the important part. It's the thing that was good enough to rest on. Okay. And so if we can cause them to feel good enough that a breath or two of rest afterwards is possible, they see us as being helpful.
Yeah.
And the supportive practice is, did I watch them long enough to know what this might look like? Did I affirm enough things that happened naturally? I didn't cause them. I just said, "That's amazing. You felt good enough to rest." I didn't cause it, just knew it was going to happen. And I was there ready to rest with you when you could rest. Supportive is, can I start to cause it? If I can
Mhm.
cause it, I become a very important person in my horse's life. Okay. If I can do that enough, I'm going to get into the assertive practice. The assertive practice is where I physically ask them to do something. I physically ask them to walk to the water trough. I physically ask them to look at something, listen to something, smell something, hear something, feel something. And when I physically ask them to do it and they do exactly what I ask and it's easy, that's assertive. Assertive in the dictionary means something I am 100% assured is going to happen.
Mm.
Okay. So if I am 100% sure it's going to happen and I ask for it and the horse goes, "Of course, I was planning on it anyway." Okay. That is your assertive practice. Now, we're going to make some mistakes and the assertive is not going to work. And we're going to slide into the persistent practice where we ask and the horse is like, "Actually, I didn't really feel like it at that point." And you're like, "Oh, if I ask again, is it going to work?" And they're like, "Yeah, I still didn't really want to do it." And you're like, "What if I ask a third time?" They go, "Oh, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Yeah, I did feel better." Okay. So we're going to slide
Right.
into that persistent practice when we get the timing not quite right.
Yeah.
And that's part of the practice. Like we're going to have some of that where we don't let, remember I said the goal is to get it 80% right. 20%, we're going to be like, "Oh, okay, I messed up a little bit. Can I fix what I messed up?" And that's where I think we get into escalating pressure. So escalating pressure is where you can ask a second time. You can ask a third time. You can ask with more pressure. You can ask with different pressure. You can keep working on it until it works. And some people are like, "Oh, I don't want to do that." And that is a choice. You don't have to do the persistent practice. But what I find is a lot of people claim they're not using escalating pressure, but they are using a halter and a lead rope, which means the horse can't leave. And if the horse can't leave, the horse is feeling escalating pressure, even if you're not applying escalating pressure. Because if they didn't want to do it, they'd just walk away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm really, really excited about this idea that we can work in these 5 different levels. And what I find is that, let's say I have a week where I'm feeling under the weather. I've got a bit of the flu. I don't feel great. I can do all these 5 levels with all of my horses, but you know what? This is a watching week for me. I
Right.
don't feel great. I'm going to go get my basic, beautiful, mundane chores done. My horses are going to be fed. They're going to have water. I'm going to get the bare essentials done because I don't feel great. And while I'm cleaning their paddock, I'm watching them. What can I learn about them from watching? Even if I'm not going to affirm, I'm not going to support, I'm not going to assert, I'm not going to persist because I don't feel good enough to. But I'm still doing something important. I'm still learning about them while I do the beautiful, mundane, boring stuff.
Mm. Yeah, I was like, that circles back really nicely there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that because it also takes the pressure off us of like, I'm having a crummy week. I don't feel great, but oh my God, I've got to ride 5 times this week, or I need to do the things right, right? Like it's it shifts some of that pressure that I imagine we put on ourselves and then we put on our horses because it's like
Yeah.
I have these checklists that I need to, do. Yeah.
So when I teach my online course, every exercise I give can be done at the watching level, or
Hmm.
the affirming level, or the supportive level, or the assertive level, or the
Right.
persistent level. And every single day you get to choose what's right for me. And so I had a student the other day who said, Elsa, I don't feel like I've done any of my homework. And then she proceeded to tell me all of the most beautiful things she had observed in her herd and how much she had learned about her herd. And I was like, you totally are doing your homework.
Hmm.
And I will tell you, my biggest breakthroughs have usually happened after a week I dropped back to one of the basic, boring, mundane levels. Where I was like, I'm capable of much more than this, but I just don't feel like it. And then I'm like, great, okay, actually practice what you preach, Elsa. Go and do the boring, beautiful, mundane stuff. And then next week, maybe you've built this beautiful foundation for going into something that's more interesting.
Mm. It's just like a little bit of a weight off. I don't know if anybody else feels that out there, but I'm like, thank you.
So I got to
Yeah.
tell you, I did this experiment with my herd. Not this time that I was home, because I'm really home for a short period this time. But last time I was home, I had 77 days at home. And I decided I was gonna really get some work done. And so I was gonna do all 6 yields with all 6 horses every single day for 77 days. This is my goal set because I'm a little bit driven sometimes. But I also try and be wise. So I was like, all right, we're going to have different options for how we do this. So I could just watch them and watch how they yield to each other.
Hmm.
Like that's an information gathering piece. I could affirm them. I could affirm them when there are natural yielding behaviors. I could also affirm them when they have a good sensory response, when I touch an area that I might yield from in the future. Okay. I could actually work on making them feel better when I touch an area that I'm going to yield them from the future. That's my supportive. Or I could actually go to the assertive where I actually ask them to do the yields. And when I talk about the yields, it's forward, backwards, left, right, up, and down. Really simple, but they kind of build all of our physical skills. I found for 77 days, I was 90% affirming, which meant I didn't make them yield at all. Because I didn't want to.
Mm.
I wanted to go out and enjoy them and give them responses and do the beautiful and do the mundane. I just didn't feel the desire to make them do physical stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, this experiment was a failure. But it really wasn't.
No.
The improvement I saw in every one of the 6 horses was unbelievable. The softness and the willingness and the desire to yield
Mm.
when I give them the lightest touch now profoundly changed. in setting myself a goal of 77 days of yield, but at the level that I felt like doing. I didn't actually have to make them yield. I had to think about, how do I want to do this at the level that makes sense for me? And
Wow.
yeah, it was profound. It was probably my best learning this year. It was so exciting to see how much progress we made when I allowed myself to take it at the level I felt like each day, and how little work it actually took to make profound progress when I really thought about how it fit with me and my horses, giving each other responses and working at the level that felt right for us.
Oh, so like this opens up just a total amazing can of worms because I mean, I've heard it so many times. I'll have a client on my table who's like, I just can't find the motivation to ride. I just can't. I love horses, but I just am not there. And it feels for them like such a huge issue, a huge problem, like something super wrong for them. Oh, I always used to love to ride and engage with horses these ways. And, I've had something similar, right? Like where it's like, that was always my way of connecting, right? And now it's not. And there's a part of me that goes, what is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you that you don't want to do this thing that's right in front of you that you could do, right?
So I really believe that when we are younger, we tend to choose very, very physical ways to get responses.
Yeah,
So getting on the horse and riding it makes perfect sense.
totally.
As we get older and wiser, I would like to think, we want a wider diversity of ways to get responses. So it doesn't mean riding is out. It means we don't want that to be the only way. We don't want that to be the only thing that's important in our relationships. And I think that the world has not taught us to value age and wisdom correctly. And I think that there's a real beauty here in saying, yes, I am still going to ride. Yes, I still love it. But maybe I want more than that in my relationships.
Yes. And let's circle back to the age and wisdom piece because I think that is so, so needed for so many listeners to hear and so many women to hear is uh I know for myself this sense of because our society doesn't tend to value, especially in women, age and wisdom, there is this sense of I need to be different from that. I need to show that I'm still young, or I need to push myself beyond my limits, even when the wisdom is like, yeah, you don't need to do that. Like, slow down,
Yeah.
take a breather, you know? Yeah. So I think that's very, very critical to highlight here. So for you, tell me about that. Like, how are you being with your age and your growing wisdom? What does that look like for you? Because I think we all need a little helping hand on this level.
I think we do. And I would love to say that I'm handling it beautifully, but I'm not. It is graceless at times, and I curse the aging process. But that's part of the contrast of life, where I think, again, this has sort of really been forefront of my mind for the last year, is that we are taught to connect with others through a hero's journey, where we share our like struggles and our victories and our chaos.
Yeah.
And
Epicness.
yes. And so I think that that's a rut that I very easily fall into. Oh, I'm getting old and I'm frustrated with it. And I don't do things the way I did when I was younger. And I maybe I should force myself. I have all of that chaos too. Absolutely. But slowly, as I am starting to embrace my wisdom a little bit more, I'm thinking maybe it doesn't have to be that way. Maybe I can seek connections with others through the beautiful, the boring, and the mundane. Maybe I don't always have to be sharing a hero's journey of chaos and struggle and all of that that I feel like as a society we are a bit addicted to. But I think as I get older, I am learning to step outside of that framework and say, yes, that is part of life. And yes, I'm going to have my messy, chaotic days. But maybe I could connect with my friends about something other than that. I could connect with my horses about something other than that.
Yes.
Coming
Yes.
back to that foundation of basic needs, safety, it's that good old Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Can we keep coming back to the foundation? Because I feel like when we try and seek those upper tiers of connection with others, which are very, very important, sometimes we forget the basic need structure. And the basic need structure is what gives us the strength and the vitality to reach up into the chaos and the interest and the struggles in life with a little bit more grace.
Mm. Yes. Yes. And maybe not fight it quite so much.
Right.
Yeah. I had an 80-year-old gal on my table the other day, and she, she just turned 80. And she says, "Man, this one's really getting me." And I'm like, "Okay, what is it about that number that's really getting you?" She's like, "I feel like it's just all downhill from here. I feel like I'm falling apart." You know, and you could see her fighting it. She's just fighting it tooth and nail. I'm like, "Okay, well, we're here." It's happened. 80 has happened. What are we going to do about that? Do we fight it the whole way through, tooth and nail? Use that energy there? Or do we go, okay, yeah, this is what it is. This is where I'm at. This is what my body's doing. And not maybe embrace it, but accept that
Oh, I would say embrace it. I would
I
say that
I ideally
I
embrace it.
we can't accept it or we can accept it to the degree that we support it, and we can embrace it to the degree that we support it. But I
Hmm.
think that all of us fight it, like you say. I am not that. I am not getting older and wiser. I want to stay young forever. And the stronger we fight it, the more we don't support it.
Yes.
So instead, we can say, this is what I am. What support does it need? And the beauty of that is, so when we were all younger, generally, most of us would jump on any horse that would get near enough an object for us to leap on. And whatever happened afterwards happened afterwards. And we threw care of the wind and we jumped on horses and we galloped around and sometimes we fell off and then we did it again. That has been replaced by wisdom. Okay. And so we are not likely to do that anymore. And some of us may mourn that fact. But let me tell you, there are many, many horses in the world that are thinking, thank God, not wiser. Now,
Oh,
I wouldn't take that youth away from anyone. I want all of the young people in the world to have that abandonment. That's wonderful. But I also want us to value the evolution that comes through life where we think, whew, maybe we could prepare this scene a little better. You throw a leg over that horse. And I guarantee you that right now I'm 47 years old, and the level to which I do need to prepare a horse before I ride them is quite high. When I turn 80, it will be higher. So
yeah.
I will have a higher expectation of the relationship I have with a horse before I throw a leg over them and I ride them. It doesn't mean I won't ride. It means that I will be wiser about it. And that I expect fully to go on through my life. And you know what? I bet my horses will love me more at 80 than they do at 47. And I really think they probably love me more at 47 than they did when I was 13.
Yep.
So youth gets replaced by wisdom. And I really think that the more we can embrace that wisdom and the learning and the education that goes along with that wisdom, the more that can be a beautiful, powerful thing in our life instead of a loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will I
Yeah.
miss those days of throwing a leg over anything that would stand still long enough? Absolutely. I'm really glad that was a part of my history. And also, I can progress beyond it now.
Yes, and it is okay. And we don't bounce as well now.
That's part of what leads to the motivation of wisdom.
Yep.
We have
Yep.
a very strong motivator saying, how do we understand this situation better so there is a greater degree of safety than what I needed as a young person?
Yeah. And when I look back, and you may have been similar, I was I was rocking through a pretty self-destructive zone for a little chunk there,
Yeah.
which some others may resonate with, where I was very reckless. And if I had been around horses and as a youngster, I grew up in the city, which was probably for the good in that way. It would have probably been a really different story. I lived that through my 20s where I would throw a leg over a diva with a halter on at night, riding through a herd of horses. Like I lived that later on, which my body was not very pleased about, particularly. Um, but it's been so interesting more recently because since my health event, a lot of wisdom came from that experience. It was amazing how much was created through this sense that, oh, I can actually die, and right away, like out of the blue, I that could happen. It really shifted so much for me. And I don't know if you remember Raven that I used when I took the course, worked with when I took the course. And your work was so profound for her. It's just been amazing with her. And I had been determined to ride her, because she's only 11 and, she's a beautiful girl and all of these things. And then I came off of her a few times and acknowledged that she has a particularly impressive catapult maneuver and a trickiness around focusing on me when on her back. Like just kind of forgets a little bit that I'm there. And so it took me two catapults onto pretty hard gravel before I went, I think that we don't need to ride Raven. I think Raven can just hang and be with us because the riding was always just such an uphill climb to support her with her arthritis and some nerve impingement and different things. And it was always just this, you know, so recognizing, yeah, why do I have this pressure inside of me to feel like she needs to be ridden and doing stuff and,
So
you
I would
know,
argue the reason you had that is because that is the way we get acknowledgement in society
yeah,
as young people.
yep,
And once we are less young, we get to become more wise about, are there other ways to receive connection and acknowledgement in society than pushing the boundaries physically?
yeah,
It's
and
one option.
potentially harming oneself.
Yeah. So, I wouldn't say that you need to give up on ever riding her. And maybe you do, but also maybe you can see this as a place in time. So
Totally.
we all know that arthritis stabilizes at some point, and
Yep.
when it stabilizes, it's not as painful. And we all know that nerves change and grow and heal and over time. And there may be a time where you go, oh, wow, look, I have the wisdom to see when is a good time to ride and when is not.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's really what's exciting to me, is to build enough foundation that we can see the wisdom of when is a good time and when is not. Whether it's the simple things of asking your horse for back up a step, whether you use escalating pressure or not, do you know the right time to use escalating pressure or not? Do you know the right time to get on? Do you know the right time to get off? Like, everything has a time limit. And sure, if your horse has arthritis, it's very painful. There may not be a right time to get on this year.
Yeah. Totally.
But next year, when it's stabilized, there might be. And do you know the difference?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fun to start turning these questions over and sort of thinking of the herd, thinking of those little nuanced places, because I have a pony now. She's like 40 inches. I've
Uh-huh.
entered the mini, I guess they call it the mini pause.
They're so fun, those little
They're
guys.
so fun. She's a
Yep.
Shetland mini, so she's got the sass, right? And she loves doing stuff.
Yeah.
So she'll come and stand at the tack room door
Okay.
and wait for me to be able to do things. And it's so interesting to be with a horse that has that kind of, she wants, how do I say it? She wants the pressure in a way, if that makes sense. Like it
Absolutely.
feels really good to her to get a thing. Like
Yes.
when the light bulb goes and she gets a new trick or she figures out a new thing, it's like makes her feel so good.
Yeah. So
Right?
I believe pressure is designed to bring them around the emotional cycle until they feel better. Horses dislike pressure when it only brings them up, but not around to the better part.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are like that too. They're like, I don't ever want to escalate pressure because I associate that with feeling worse.
Yeah,
We do it differently. Pressure can be like the best thing in the world. Let's put
totally.
a little pressure on so that we feel better. And then life is just fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah. And we learned a thing or two, right? Like her latest thing she loves is sideways towards me. It's just like her favorite thing. So then we just add new pieces to the sideways towards me, over at Liberty, over a pole, right?
Yeah.
And then can we do it both sides? And these neural pathways coming on. And I think for her, that just feels like such a rush to get. Like we know those people too. You and I think are similar, where it's like when we learn stuff and when the axons come together and it's like, oh my gosh, I got it. It feels so good to have that happen, right?
But this does bring me to a really important point, and that is that I am so glad you are exploring this with a mini horse because
Yes,
I believe,
totally.
I really believe that danger in horses, this is going to be a very strong statement. Danger in
Please.
horses comes from more draw than drive. When they want to come towards you more than they want
Yep.
to move away from you. Now, in an ideal world, we'd have a ton of both, but we always want a slightly less draw than drive. And the reason for that is because you are a fragile being. Okay. We're talking
Totally.
first. So when they get into a high emotional cycle or they're just really stressed for some unknown reason, you want them to default to stepping away from you. Even if you're riding, a horse that is running in a straight line is so much safer than a horse that is trying to catapult you off. So
Yeah.
when they go to catapult you off, their body is going towards yours.
I had not thought of that, but
Yep.
yes.
When they have slightly more drive than draw, their body moves away from you from default.
That makes so much sense because Raven, catapult. I was like,
Yeah.
what is this? Diva, sidestep. She does the like 3 feet sideways.
Yep. Safer, right?
Safer, much
Yeah.
safer.
Yep.
I can fit
So
that.
Yep. So I love that you're experimenting with your mini more draw than drive because it's small enough you can get away
She
with it.
is, but no, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful with Raven being, 1,200 pounds, 1,300 pounds, that she does tend to, on the ground, have more drive than draw, which is great.
And when you're riding, it'll be more scoot than buck.
Yeah.
And you can ride scoot.
Can ride a scoot.
It's hard to ride a buck. And
Yep.
it's even the horses that will drop a shoulder and spin, that's towards you.
Right.
Reach to a halt, drop a shoulder and spin, and that's movement towards you, not away from you.
Right. And so things like biting on the ground or kicking towards you would be more towards you.
And unfortunately, we teach this from day one with foals because they are snuggly and cute, and we want them to respond by coming to us.
And following us around.
Following us around. And so people always ask me, because I believe in freedom and I teach freedom, people say, well, how do you teach horses not to be dangerous? And I say, well, you don't make them dangerous in the first place.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You never have to set boundaries. If you always reinforce a little more moving away from you than moving towards you, you never ever have to tell them no. You never ever have to stop them from doing something unsafe if they have a default of stepping away from you instead of stepping towards you. And the way you do this is by giving them more attention and recognition
When they step away.
when they look away. And this is hard for humans. Humans are like, I don't want them to look away. I want them to look at me. Okay, so we have such a desire for this recognition. That's a very herd thing. And I'm not saying you can't get it. I'm just saying we want a little bit more of look away than look towards, because
Yeah.
that is your safety valve. And
Big
that is
time.
so hard for people. So people who are like, Elsa, I just don't like that. I'm like, well, okay, that's why people created boundaries. If you want to set them up to have more draw than drive, be prepared to also learn boundary setting.
Yes.
I don't like boundary setting. I don't like boundary setting, so I'm going to set up my relationship so I don't have to set boundaries. That for a challenging point.
Oh, yes. Like my body's like, okay.
And so I'm throwing this out there not because I want to tell everybody what to do. I'm going to tell people what their options are. I believe in freedom. I believe everybody should make the choices of what they want to train, what they want to recognize, what they want to affirm. It's your choice. You just should know what the fallout is from that. Like,
Totally.
where is that going to take you?
Totally. Now I'm really glad that Gwenna's only 40 inches.
Right? And so, I am not a big proponent of forcing horses to yield, but I am a big proponent of appreciating them when they do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, we're going to work on some new things. And she actually does yield very well, so I'm quite impressed. She's figured that out. She is a smart cookie. But we're training up to the cart, and it's really interesting because when she has the dock piece on,
Yep.
and the piece around the tail, she comes from bucking stock, basically from the wild pony race stock. And that girl can buck. And so it's been really interesting. I would rather her scoot or bolt, especially in the cart, than buck, obviously.
Yep.
So that kind of starts to twig like that piece for me of, because when she gets upset about something, she'll tend to rear or buck, right? Rather than run away. So yeah, it's definitely got some wheels turning.
It's interesting for me in the riding horse world, we assume all horses can be ridden. And then if they can't, they can do liberty work or they can do tricks or they can do, there's always something. In the carriage horse world, it's really interesting. People go, oh yeah, that one's just not cut out for carriage job. Yep. Just, nope, it's just not their job. And that's because it becomes such a huge safety issue.
It's massive.
We get wise when it's big enough.
Totally. Or when your horse can get their foot caught in a cart or drag you into a ditch.
Oh, all those things. Yeah. When I was 15, 16, I taught a couple of horses how to pull carriages, and it was fabulous. It was also fabulous because I thought I could do anything. I read a book,
Yep.
followed the instructions in the book, went perfectly. We went driving all over. I got lucky. Those were all horses with more drive than draw.
Yes.
Later on, I thought I was really good at this, and I went to teach someone, and I thought I was really good, and everything was going well, and I'd done all my pieces, I thought. And then when I put the two poles on either side, she kicked that set of travois to matchsticks, and I went, whew, maybe I need to learn a little bit more.
And also that, ooh, I was very lucky back then.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh-huh, for certain. I don't think I've ever prepared so well for anything in my life. And I think a part of that is my growing wisdom of I don't want to have a wreck. I don't want Gwenna to have a wreck. I don't want myself to. I want to approach this in a way where we're so, so well prepared.
Yeah. And what I find as we get older is we start to value how much fun the preparation is.
Yes, totally.
Absolutely so much fun. And I know there's a lot of younger trainers out there who go, "Ugh, you guys are too wrapped up in your preparation. Just get on and do it." And that is a way to go. I never want to tell them that they're wrong because for their situation, they're quite right. But I also think that there is room in the world for us to do it many different ways. And we
Mhm.
should know that we have the freedom of choice there.
Mm, yeah, I love that. And I do. I love the preparation. I really, really do. It's like now as I see it, like before I had like, say I was building a rock wall, I just had the big rocks.
Right.
And I was like, it's good. Wall's good. It'll be fine. Now I see that and I'm like, oh, there's some gaps. It kind of looks crappy. Like it's not right. That's kind of how my training feels is like filling in the spaces, adding the mortar, and actually making it really workable and functional,
And
right?
beautiful. This
And
is where
beautiful
the
and
artistry
beautiful.
comes in. A painting is not just throwing color at a wall.
Yeah.
A painting takes thought and creativity, and there is no less creativity in the work that we do in our relationships with our horses, with our human friends, with all of those. We can always learn how to do it better.
Hmm. Yeah. And when you rush it, you can miss that essence, that what really wants to come through, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
And there is absolutely time and place for a sketched line drawing. We love sketched line drawings.
Totally.
Also, we can love things of incredible detail too.
Yes. Oh, what a perfect spot to end. Just came right full circle. That's beautiful. Right there. I love our conversations. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to give you an opportunity here, Elsa, to share a little bit about your book that is now out that I've got to go and buy and how people can find it.
I can send you one. Give me your
Oh,
address. I'll send you a signed copy.
yes. Okay.
So you can find my book anywhere they sell books. Trafalgar Square is doing a great job of getting it out there in the world. I'm really, really excited about the book because I took that first year with Myrna that I made the movie about. We only filmed once a month for that movie. So there's so many things that didn't make it in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found I was able to do with the book is take my entire outline of what I teach today and then trace it back to the time and place I needed to learn it. So, what I do is I take you on a journey through the story from getting Myrna on day one through to the end of the movie, but all the pieces that didn't make it into the movie. And I take you through the story of the frustrations and the trials and the difficulties I had that led me to needing a solution I didn't have yet.
Mm-hmm.
Those are what create my whole training platform today. So I didn't have the words for them in that first year.
Oh.
I was working on gut, I was working on instinct, and I could only explain it in the most basic outline of a line drawing. But now, today, I have a lot more detail to share with people. It's the same work I was doing then. And I can tell you the story of how I needed to learn it and what got in my way and all of those great hero's journey that we all love to read. Then, once you understand the why and the how and how it all fits together, when we want to build the sensory system more than we build the physical system, what happens is you develop a horse that cares about taking care of you.
Mm-hmm.
Care about taking care of you so that you don't need a bridle anymore. You don't need a halter anymore. You don't need to control their overreactions because they learn to control their overreactions themselves. They learn to self-manage so that they take care of their friends and their partners. That's what freedom-based training is all about.
Mm.
From there, I do have an online course that is 18
Mm-hmm.
weeks long now. And
Wow.
it's just sort of kept growing because even though the work is very, very simple, I can explain it in 10 million different ways. I can adapt it to hundreds of different horses around the world each year that I see and that I talk to. And so my online course comes with unlimited Zoom calls where people can talk to me one-on-one, and I can really help you fit all of this theory to your horse. How do we develop the sensory system before the physical system so that the horse is socially regulated and they want to take care of their friends? From there, we build all the physical skills on top of that.
Mm.
And
Wow.
I'm just about to head to Australia where I'm going to go do 7 weeks of clinics. And I spend about 6 months
Oh.
of the year traveling around the world and doing clinics, which I love. And then I'm home with my horses, making video and content for my Patreon group the rest of the year because I developed the kind of training I wanted as a child, and it didn't exist.
Yeah.
I couldn't find the type of training that developed the horse's sensory system before their physical system. And so I had to create it. And
Yeah.
now I get to live it.
Mm. I love it. So yeah, head on to Amazon or wherever you get your books and Taming Wild, The Compelling Origins of Freedom-Based Training. You can check that out. And the promise it holds for horses and with humans. I love that. I did Elsa's course. This was probably 3 or 4 years ago now, so it's probably evolved greatly since then. But
Yes.
even then, it was one of the most valuable things I've ever done. So I can highly recommend it. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for the work you do in the world.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for the work you do in the world. I think that we are a wonderful collaborative group of trainers now that are just trying to show people there are options and choices, and you get to choose what is best for you.
hmm You sure do. Let's keep on seeing the beauty in the mundane, hey?
Yes, absolutely.
Yay. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening in today. We'll see you soon for another episode. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening in today. Many of you know that in March we completed the Whole Horse Apprenticeship with promises that it would be back in a new form after 9 years of 6-month programs. So I'm particularly delighted to share that this community is now an ongoing membership with all the goodness of the apprenticeship and much, much more. So if you've been craving a horse community that is as geeky as it is grounded, as restorative as it is resourcing, and as collaborative as it is creative, the Whole Horse Collective might just be for you. Plus, if you register before November 18th, which is not long away, you'll be enrolled in my Whole Rider Foundation course for free. This is a 7-week live webinar course that gets very, very geeky and deep into osteopathic principles and how they apply to our own human bodies and function. So if you're interested in that and getting the Whole Horse Apprenticeship archives and all sorts of other amazing bonuses, head on over to outsidetheboxequine.com, which is where this membership is based. and check it out. I hope to see you in the herd. Bye for now.